Hi guys, I'm Sabrina and I am very much into the idea of using all of the tools that we have as far as tarot, astrology, cartomancy, and geomancy for building a stronger introspective self-help kind of energy. Sometimes I feel like therapy can also come from within by first acknowledging what we're going through. So that's what I do. I focus on using the tools that have been provided to look inward. So today, the number 7. Now, the 7 number does rule over relationships, all kinds, business, partnerships, sometimes our clientele, our intimate relationships, and our close friendships. This energy, when I did the geomancy for it, came up with some malefic energy. Of course, my good friend Mars came out, and so did Saturn, and so did the sun. So sometimes you might want to ask yourself, what is the sun shedding light on with things that sometimes feel challenging, hard, and sometimes negative in our life? Now, sometimes that can be our inner voice, and sometimes it can be the environment in which we put ourselves in, and how either one of those can affect our relationships. So the first energy that I got was Mars energy, and there's a sensation of the strength to cut something. So marinate on that within your own life. What within those environments that I just described, do you feel that something needs to be cut away? It can be the mindset towards something, or it can be literal energies within that specific space. Then we have Saturn, which comes under the energy of sorrows. And sometimes it doesn't mean you're going to experience sorrows. It sometimes means that we have experienced sorrows in some kind of way. And sometimes there becomes moments where there's almost like a recall of some sort, where it comes back, whether it's a memory or, like we're doing the Venus and Mercury retrograde right now. Sometimes there's this energy of a callback of some sort. And that one talks about blocks of protection. So have you ever noticed when you try to go towards something and it just feels like the universe is just throwing everything at you to deter you from that area? That is considered a protection, even though it's frustrating and annoying and you don't really understand, why can't I go that way? Why can't I talk to these people? Why can't I achieve this thing? There's a reason, because it doesn't serve you. It's actually a distraction, or it's something that could potentially become toxic, because the energy of Saturn and Mars is, malefic. It's not a comfortable energy. Then the energy of the sun comes through with the energy of a swiftness, like an opportunity. And sometimes it's the energy or the thought that came to mind was like a passing car, like the opportunity to maybe get a car, to get a ride. As they're standing on the street and we just watch the car pass us, it's something as fleeting as that energy. Now the sun did just conjoin with Saturn maybe a few days ago, and that part of the chart, wherever it is in your birth chart, that transit is asking you to both become serious about something in that area, to think about how solid and structurally sound it is, and also what are you willing to give extra time and work to, because those are the energies that describe Saturn. And then also the energy of the sun, right behind me, the sun, where are we willing to kind of take the ego out of it? I mean, the ego is there to protect us, especially when it harnesses the energy of, Mars, but also harnessing the energy of Saturn, which is wisdom. Not everything requires fast, impulsive action like Mars, and sometimes, the answer is slow is better, but sometimes, we can create this weirdness where we set boundaries that need to have a little bit of lights shed upon. Like, are those boundaries serving us? Are they protecting us, or are they actually closing us in and blocking us off from something? The sun does equal the joy, but it does equal ego, but it does equal joy and happiness, our inner child or children or creativity in some kind of way. So think about those energies and how they may influence, shape, and dictate the number 7 energy in your life, which is the relationships, the business partnerships, your clientele, and your friends. So we had a couple cards that came out. That was the 3 of Pentacles. So the things that I wrote down for these was taking multiple points of view, multiple different points of view. Sometimes it can be different versions of yourself, my younger self, my middle self, and the place I am now, or it can literally be people that, in a business or a relationship or close friends, their opinions, they matter to you, but there's an energy of consideration within the teamwork attitude, but then there's a shifting to a solo energy. So if you notice on this card, these 2 people are looking at each other talking about something, and this one is off doing her own thing. She's creating something. She appears to be in deep thought about something, and she's wanting to create something. She has her eye on something. She's marinating in something. She's kind of a little bit, she's trying to create this tapestry, but she's also doing her own thing. She's kind of stuck in her own mind. And that comes into the Magician energy, right? She's, again, thinking about something. And there's something that's pulling, or it's a call, a specific point of focus that has become a calling for a while. So if you've had, and the repeating symbol up here, it is to repeat. So anything that kind of shows up annoyingly, like a skipping record for you, needs to be acknowledged in some way, a point of creativity. Or sometimes, because he's by himself, sometimes we do need to have a little bit of, this sensation of isolation, or moments set aside for oneself to have the time to create something. Sometimes even reading is is a sacred thing for people. So don't disregard the energy, even if it's pulling you to ask yourself to pull yourself away from groupthink into self-imagination. And then we got the Queen of Pentacles, and I want to ask you, is it financial stability or a greater sense of self-purpose and achievement that's calling to you? Are you in a place of comfort, daydreaming about becoming more financially independent? So the reason why we say that is because she's in a very nice, comfy chair. She's got money in her hand, but her eyes are closed. She's either 100% comfortable where she's at, or she's sitting in the place in which she is manifesting and hoping that she can be. And then we have the 9 of Wands. So the 9 of Wands can be an energy of success, and sometimes this success comes through the energy of Saturn, which is putting up boundaries, restrictions, and telling ourselves the hard no's and sticking to it faithfully. So past lessons hold the key to future success, and sometimes it's putting up boundaries with others that cause you to fall into past versions of yourself that no longer align with you, right? So that comes back into the relationship energy. Who and what tempts you to fall into a version of yourself, to pull you back into sometimes a place of pain, a place of limited belief, and a place that sometimes caused thought spirals that you couldn't escape from. Sometimes it's loving yourself enough to say no to temptations that will only sever you from the path that you have struggled so hard to find. So it can come down to being stricter with yourself in every department, from what you put in your mouth, what you eat, what you drink, what you do and what you don't do, what you read and what you don't read, who you talk to and who you don't talk to, where you go and where you don't go anymore. So think about all those things and see, does this even align with you? Does this even resonate with you? But either way, I hope that today our little introspective adventure helped you in some way, even if it just gave you something positive to see on the internet today. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. See you later. Bye.